Okay. All right, welcome to our week 6 church history. Elijah, can you pray?
Okay. Dear God, thank you for this day and for that we today can learn about the lesson 6 of the church history. And please help us so that we can learn something from this meeting, and in Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, let's do some review first. Okay. How do we divide the church? The division. First, 500 year, what do we call?
Early church.
Early church. Okay. And then medieval church, right? Last we talked about 3 movements of medieval church. What are they? 3 movements.
Monasticism.
Yeah.
Papacy.
Then what's next?
Missionary mission.
Okay, mission movement, right? So okay, I'm gonna name someone, okay? Or you just tell me which this missionary, from which country, and he went to which country for his mission. Okay. Peter, St. Patrick.
St. Patrick.
Ireland.
But he was from which country originally?
Oh, England.
And then he went to Ireland. Okay, very good. Okay, how about you raise a hand. Okay, Columba is from which country, and which country he went to serve? Anybody know? Columba. Remember the small eye? Oh, okay, Christine one.
I think he was from Ireland and he was missionary to Scotland.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, how about Boniface? Okay, Jane.
Wasn't he England?
Mm-hmm. And he went to where?
Germany.
Very good. Okay, you see, again, I feel like in our mission conference, we seldom talk about them, right? We only talk about those recent ones. Livingston, who else? Hudson Taylor. Actually, these are earlier ones. We should remember them too. Okay. All right. So I want to get started first, and then when Christine went here, actually, she can start this share. All right. Is this full screen, right? Yeah, Peter, this is full screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So it's getting ready for, I hope everybody you attended, just make it complete, all right? That's how you get a certificate. I didn't give you much homework, so that's just read a book. Gonna have simple final, and then just submit a 1-page report. Say how good the teacher is. Okay, so just see how much you learn. Okay, that all right. Hey, again, change your screen name. Okay, so later on can do the breakout room. All right. Oh, where's my co-host? Oh, I have to figure out later. Okay, hope you remember this. All right. Now with the medieval, we're going to talk about the late medieval church. Okay, it's roughly from 1054 and 1453. The Eastern Roman Empire falls. We talked about that last week. Okay, I'm not going to talk. Okay. Also, we're going to talk about three things: monastic reform movement, the rise and fall of the papacy, and crusades. We're going to dedicate most of the time to talk about crusades. All right. Monastic reform. Okay, who is the first hermit? Who? Rita, who is the first hermit? Remember?
Jerome.
No. Why every time talk about him? He wrote a book about this person. Remember? He is in Egypt. Who else we know? Who was the first hermit?
Saint Augustine.
No.
I mean Anthony.
Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Okay. Anthony is the first famous desert hermit. Okay. Who was first? Okay, this one that we didn't talk much about him. That he started the first monastery, Pachomius. Okay, sometimes the name. How about this most famous one? Create the rule that people's monasteries still follow today. Who? Who knows that? Fiona, who make this rule for monastery? Remember, talk about him. Who knows? Eileen, do you know? Remember? Who made the rule?
Who made the rule?
Yeah. Make it very popular.
Isn't it like the memory is running on me? Is it the
Who knows? Lydia, do you know who knows? Come on.
Benedict?
Yes, thank you. Okay, Benedict, okay? Benedict's, don't forget, okay? Benedict make this rule. Actually, I have the book. I have a book I have about his rules. Okay, so you get the idea of this movement, okay? And then the Celtics, that's what we talk about, how the Irish saved the civilization, right? Okay. Well, you know, every movement, they all started very good, but all going to, when time goes on, they're going to corrupt. So during the 10 to 12th centuries, that's a movement, the Copernican reform from France, and he started to reform this monastery. Okay, so just get the idea. Nothing going to stay strong forever. So when it's become corrupted, that need a reform, right? So he started to this movement and aim to reform the clergy, the monk, the papacy. Remember those two things they focus as monk: prayer and work, right? So now we're going to see the two, one major one. This one, Bernard of Clairvaux in France. He is he started this order called Cistercian. You know, the order just like maybe like our denomination sounds like. Okay, so people follow his way, and he's very gifted in preaching. He kind of reformed this. The one thing I want to mention, because he also composed a song, and it's still popular today because Bach arranged that melody. Okay, I want to let you listen. You may heard this before. We Anybody heard this song before? Jacob, have you heard this song?
No, I do not believe so.
Okay, pay attention. Usually, if some, let's say some president, queen, or king pass away, you may heard. Okay, pay attention. That's still quite popular. So think about that. This song is composed by Bernard of Clairvaux in 12th century, 10th, and he also involved the Second Crusade. Okay, so that's something you should know. And that song is called St. Matthew. Bach made this called St. Matthew Passion. You know what passion means here? Passion means Jesus suffering. Okay, so remember many years ago, that's a movie called The Passion of Christ. Very, very brutal. Mel Gibson composed that. No, directed. Okay, so here passion means Jesus suffering. You know, that's very different. When you go to in the Christian church, do you see the Jesus on the cross? Do we see Jesus on the cross? Melvin, do you see Jesus on the cross in the church building? We don't, right? But usually if you go to Catholic church, usually the Jesus is still on the cross. Isn't it interesting? Because the Catholic church is very emphasized on the passion of Christ, the suffering, okay? But we Protestant, we more focus on Jesus' resurrection. So in our church building, the cross, only cross, because Jesus resurrected. But pay attention, if you sometimes you go to some churches, the Jesus still there, okay? Because they emphasize on this. And I see we need to both emphasize that too, okay? Because sometimes we take it too easy or take it for granted. Oh, Jesus just resurrected. But if you read the Bible, he not just died. Before he died, he suffered for us, right? So there's something, just need to have a balanced view on that. So next, they call mendicant orders, which is they don't work, but they depend on offering, just like beggar. Oh, you see, okay. So this like the Catholic order, which live entirely on donations, does not build on any visible monasteries and churches. So just go out on the street and to live by that. Under that order, there's two orders called, one is called Franciscan, the other Dominicans. We're going to talk about this, all right? Because that's still there, okay? They still impact our life. All right. So Franciscans, it is a Christine. When are you here yet?
Yes.
Okay, perfect time, because you're going to present it about him, right? Can you do that now?
Okay.
Okay, perfect time. All right, let me exit out my sharing and you can share. What? Okay, well, the reason I like to learn history is church history, because many things still happening today. Many things you can still see it. Sometimes say, oh, what's this? What's that? Okay. All right. Okay, you starting?
Saint Francis of Assisi. Rotation Catholic Fair. Born Francis of Assisi was born in late 1181 or early
Oh, you may want to, yeah, make it smaller. You can see the entire thing. Yeah.
Italy. Died at age 43, 3 October 1226 in Assisi, Italy. Best known for founding the Franciscan order, or biography. Saint Francis of Assisi was a Catholic pair who gave up a life of wealth to live a life of poverty. He established the Franciscan Order of Friars and the Women's Order of the Poor Ladies. Francis is one of the several children Italy father. He grew up leading a privileged life as the son of a wealthy clock merchant. His father wanted him to become a businessman and taught him about the French couture. His youth was most likely without serious moral lapses, and his inspired love of life and a general spirit of worldliness made him a recognized leader of the young men of the town. About the age of 19, Francis went to battle against the nearby town of Pergamka. Francis was captured and taken prisoner. He was held prisoner in a dungeon for a year before his father paid the ransom and he was set free. From the cross in the neglected field chapel of San Damiano, Christ told him, Francis, go out and build up my house, for it is nearly falling down. Francis became the totally poor and humble workman. He must have suspected a deeper meaning to build up my house, but he would have been content to be for the rest of his life the poor nothing man, actually putting brick on brick in the abandoned chapels. He gave up all his possessions, killing even his clothes before his earthly father, who was demanding reservation for Francis's gifts to the poor, so that he would be totally free to say, Our Father in heaven. He was in time considered to be a regular Francis, begging from door to door when he could not get money for his work, evoking sadness or disgust to the hearts of his former friends. Be called from the underthinking. Serious illness brought the young Francis to see the emptiness of his fucking life as leader of Assisi's youth. Prayer, lengthy and difficult, led him to a self-emptying like that of Christ cleansed by embracing a leopard he met on the road. It symbolized his complete obedience to what he had heard in prayer. Francines, everything you had loved and desired in the flesh, it is your duty to desire and hate, if you wish to know my will. And when you had begun this, all that now seems sweet and lovely to you, but bitter. But all that you used to avoid will turn into itself to great sweetness and exceeding joy. The Franciscan order. As Francis lived his life of poverty and preached to the people about life of Jesus Christ, people began to follow him. By 1209, he had around 11 followers. He had one basic rule, which was to follow the teachings of our Lord Jesus Christ and to walk in his footsteps. Francis was devoutly follower of the Catholic Church. He and his followers traveled to Rome to get the approval for their religious order from the Pope. At first, the Pope was reluctant. These men were dirty, poor, and smelled bad. However, eventually he understood their vow of poverty and blessed the order. Francis of Assisi ascended and inspired the church by taking the gospel literally, not in a narrow fundamentalist sense, but by actually following all that Jesus said and did joyfully, without limit and without a sense of self-importance. Love for nature. Francis was known for his love of nature and animals. There are many stories about Saint Francis and his preaching to animals. Francis became ill and spent the last few years of his life mostly blind. He died in 1226 while singing Psalms 141. He was declared a saint of the Catholic Church only 2 years after his death. Peace prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hate me, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. And where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understood, to be loved as to love. For it is giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we pardon, and it is dying to self that we are born to eternal love. Amen. There's a video.
Don't need to play the whole thing, okay? Just play a little bit, then people see it.
Okay, I will send the link to the chat.
Okay, thank you.
San Francisco is Spanish for and is named after Saint Francis of Assisi. My brother Jacob Paul Wayne was born in San Francisco. Pope Francis chose his name in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi because he is a lover of the poor. Thank you for listening to my PPT.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Very good. Thanks, Christine. Okay, let me back here.
Pastor Lenny,
Yes.
I think I know Saint Francis for his prayer because there's a song also in Chinese.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna. Can you see my PowerPoint now? Yeah. Okay. So he took that he took this verse literally. Okay. So it's not like they just think about, oh, this. So Peter, can you read this first?
And proclaim as you go, saying, the kingdom is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, cast out demons. You receive without paying, give without pay. Acquire no gold or silver or copper for your belts, no bag for your journey, or 2 tunics or sandals or a staff, for the laborer deserves his food.
Wow, you see that? I mean, if you're going to question this, still they have very strong motivation. They want to devote their whole life to God, right? So yeah, that's a song in Chinese, and I also thank you, Christine. This part is famous for, right? Listen to the.
Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there's doubt, true faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, only light. And where there's sadness, ever joy. Oh, Master, grant that I may never see so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul.
Okay, probably you heard this song, right? Jacob,
I
you heard?
heard this version.
Yeah, and that's the one in Chinese,
I think
right?
I might have heard it.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful song. You know, so you see, this is a heritage. This is a gift from the church history that we should treasure. All right. Okay. So that's the called Franciscan. All right. And another group called Dominicans. All right, is very different. Okay, it started by this Spanish guy, and he's called Black Friars. That Franciscan is called gray because they are closing. Okay, but they are different than the Franciscan. Is that this group, they are very gifted in, they focus on academic. Okay, the other group, Franciscan, they focus on helping the poor. This group, they focus on academic. Actually, they all become the college professor. And Thomas Aquinas, very famous theologians around this time. Okay, so that is from this. Okay, So you see that movement of monastery keep going, okay, and they all have a pro and con. They have to do something wrong, do something bad, but again, we do something bad, that's try to avoid. You do something good that we can treasure and learn. And papacy, who was the first most famous influential pope? We learned about that. Who was the first most famous one?
Gregory the Great.
Before that, Leo, right? Leo the Great, okay? And then it's Gregory, okay? The Great. And now Leo III, they ordain the emperor. So you see the power is getting bigger and bigger. We want to focus on Innocent III. Innocent III, he so I don't have time to change all this. He claimed he around this time, I just want you to pay attention, around this time, 1198, 12, the power of the Pope getting more and more powerful. He can claim he is the agent of its power reach its peak, proclaim the Pope to be the agent of Christ on earth and the ruler of the world. Wow, can you imagine that? So the more power going to give him more corruptions. So, and then he hosts this meeting and make his power even more and more. Okay, so that's something you can read on chapter 18. I just want to bring it up. And then later on, that decline. Even one point, there's 3 popes, or the pope was captured in other places, not in Rome. So you can see that a lot of chaos during this time, right? During medieval time. That's why Martin Luther was going to have a reformation. Okay, so we don't have time to get into all this. I want to focus on the Crusades because this is still very, how to say, when you think about Crusade, what do you think about? Is it positive or negative?
Positive, but both positive and negative. Like it's kind of like a mix.
Yeah.
More negative than positive.
More negative. Okay, what? One negative.
For the first crusade, they sent like boys and old men to fight. And as later, like I know in later crusades, like they sent knights and soldiers, but the Pope also lied to say that if you went into the crusade, all your sins will be forgiven and your lot in heaven will be bigger.
Is any positive things?
Well, they got Jerusalem back in the very end.
Okay, all right. And why they need to have a crusade?
Because he wanted Jerusalem
Be back.
Yeah.
Why need to be back?
Like it's kind of like the city of.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. I know in the today's society, most are very bad. I'm not saying Crusades is all good, but again, when we look at the history, you're always going to find bad, positive, and negative. And where's the view coming from? You're going to influence, all right? So, so let's look into this. Okay, we cannot talk about Crusade, not talking about Islam, right? Because Crusade is against whom? Islam, right? So we need to talk about this first, the rise of Islam. All right, the Islam means submission to God. Muslim means those who submit, okay? Allah is the Arabic term for God. and you know, Koran is the book, right? So I always say it. The founder is what? Is who? Who's the founder? Muhammad. Yeah. So I just give a quick. He born in Mecca in Saudi Arabia, and in 610 he claimed to be visited by angel. 622. This is the beginning of Muslim calendar. Marking escaped from Mecca to Medina, and then he came back from Medina to conquer Mecca, and then he died on 632, having conquered nearly all of Arabia for Islam. Okay, so this is Mecca, Medina. Okay, so you know, every year still many people, many Muslims go to Mecca. So that's in Saudi Arabia. So there are 5 pillars of Islam. Recite the creed, all right? And then pray 5 times each day. Give alms to the poor. Fast from dawn to sunset during the month of Ramadan, right? You probably go on pilgrims to Mecca. So that's for them to practice. But look at this. 622, right? That's the beginning year of Muslim. 750. Wow, that's where they conquer. Isn't it amazing? And where are those places? Who belong? All this land original is under whose control? Romans, right? So you did see that rise and take over, and today there's about 23% of world population. Actually, probably even more. Just a few years ago, okay, Muslim, and you can see where are they mostly? Okay, Middle East here, and large Africa. So hopefully when we learn this, also we didn't know, do we have a heart to share the gospel to the Muslim group? Actually, it's most challenge for Christianity. And I prayed there are more people come up to share the gospel. And we need to talk about this. Last week talked about this, the battle of Tours. Without this battle, Europe all under control of Muslim, right? So that is the 732 that was stopped by the French king, okay? So this is very significant, right? So that's already a background of this fighting between the West Roman Empire on with the Romans and Muslim before the Crusades. That's something we need to take into consideration. All right, it's not that just something just come out. Oh, the Christian, the Pope, they just think about, oh, let's go to Jerusalem. No, it's because this uprising of Muslim that took over the Christian world, including Jerusalem. All right. Okay, I just want to point out today, you don't need to use the physical fight. That the Muslim population in Europe. In France today, already 8.8% of Muslim there. Germany 6.1, UK 6.3, Sweden 8.1. So that's something we need to pay attention to. In America also. And when they dominating, they are not adopting the Christian value, they enforce the Muslim value. And they predict in 2050, they're going to be 18% of French population going to be Muslim. So you can see they are already conquering Europe in different way. So the background and the trigger of the crusade. There's something we need to know. Okay, so Muhammad died 632, and in 638, Muslim conquered Jerusalem. All right. So remember, for Christian also very important back then, that need to go to Jerusalem to visit. Okay, so at the beginning it's still okay to go to Jerusalem, and unfortunately, see 691 Dome of the Rock is complete in Jerusalem. All right, that's where the temple originally was. This is important. There's many group of Muslim, or originally Arabic, and then later on this Turk. I'm going to in the next month, Turkey. Okay, Turk conquer Palestine, and then forced Christian pilgrims to pay vast tariff, threatened Constantinople, the Eastern Roman Empire, and the Eastern Church. That is the background. And the emperor of Constantinople appealed to the Pope for help. Okay, so that's the thing, triggered crusade, because the Eastern Roman Empire is under the attack, and they cry out for help to the West. And the West already no more West Roman Empire, right? So Pope become the dominant force. They have all different Franks, German, all these barbarian groups, right? So you got to understand the background of this and why the church get involved, because there's no political power there. So the Pope become the dominant force, and also the East can still their Christian brother, although they divided. So they want to go out to help. All right. To show you this, okay, this is the West Wall, and this Dome of Rock, and this is the original, the Solomon Temple was. So Pope Urban II, he launched the first crusade. He heard this, he received this letter from Eastern Roman Empire, and he hosts this council outdoor. He had got a very passionate speech. You know, your Eastern brothers have asked for your help. Turk and the Arab have conquered their territories. Or rather, the Lord beg you destroy the barbarians from their lands. And people shouted, God wills it, God wills it. Okay, you see, it's very easy to get into all this. And because they still have a special feeling on Jerusalem, right? And so that's why they launched that, okay? And there's something also like, yeah, we all know the Pope said, oh, if you go, you're going to be exempt from your tax, your debt, your sin going to reduce in the purgatory. Whoever died in the Holy War will enter heaven directly, okay? So that's already a wrong doctrine. He used that to encourage people to fight. But I just also want to point out that people is not also have a genuine heart want to use their way to serve God, okay? In a way that's and so they went out to fight. All right. And then totally 8 crusade. Yeah, that's very bad thing happened. Some bad thing happened on that. Okay. But the first crusade, they conquered Jerusalem and established the kingdom, okay, for 88 years. And then and the fourth crusade, they conquered Constantinople and established the Latin Empire. Originally, they're going to help, but I thought they destroyed them. Okay, but you also need to see all this history is like a kingdom fighting kingdom, tribe fighting kingdom. That's why you learn from all the histories, right? And if you went to Middle East, you still can see this castle. That's from Crusade, they built a castle, right? Okay, so that's some impact of the Crusades. Expansion, the prestigious of Rome because the influence, right? And cause a hostility between the Eastern Muslim world and the Western Christian world. That because battle, of course, right? Breakdown of the feudal system. Okay, when the Roman Empire, when the West Roman Empire collapsed, they become the feudal system. Those knights, right? They control each castle, but now they all come out to fight, and they got killed in some way. So they break down on that, and the importance of commerce. Okay, and then open the eyes of the superstitious people. Greek another precursor for the Renaissance. All right, so that's something that the impact from the Crusades. If you want to know more about this, this is a very interesting book. Give you this Christian author, all right, give you from different aspects of the Crusades. Yes, they are negative things, but not as you think as the people try to use it for today. Because for a long time, this is a common conflict back then. Okay, we're not saying that's okay, right? People, when they conquered a city, that destroy all this, it's not just say, oh, Christian, okay? But nowadays, people use crusade to try to say, whenever we Christian does something, you link it to this. So this gives us a very more balanced treatment of crusades, right? So if you're interested to know, you can actually, I have a book, okay? It's in a way, I just want to use this to encourage. Many things was twisted or emphasized on what the author's intention. And the same thing applied to today's American history, right? You heard about 1619. People try to focus on some area of sin, a problem, and try to put the agenda in, right? And so we need to know how you treat history in a fair way, okay? So yeah, we need Christian historian, okay, to come out to learn how to teach history, because this is really a battlefield, a real battlefield. All right. Okay, and then you're gonna see it's fighting, okay, for Christians. All right, that's the idea struggle for many years in the Christian world. Augustine also developed this. So in general, that's called just war theory, developed in West Christian out of this. Okay, so they're basically 6 points, right? A last resort. You gotta negotiate, you gotta try every way. Can you solve the problem, right? Don't right away go into fight, right? Second, a just cause. Why you want to get into fight? Is it self-defense? Or you just say, oh, I like your land is better. Okay, oh, you have a better land, better than mine. I want to take it over. No, then that's not the just cause, right? Number 3, valid authority. That means that whoever started fight, you need to have a counter authority, a nation. You cannot just start it with, oh, I'm going to fight. Okay. Number 4, probable success. Can this battle win? Have possible to win? If not, yeah. If you look at it today, actually Ukraine and Russians in almost going to get to fight already. So probably you will see Ukraine probably have no chance to win, right? This way is a proportionality. It's you need to use that balance force, right? You cannot use force M to that. I'm going to see this. This. Okay, number 6 is active strategy. Can you, of course, it must be proportional and no more than. Okay, yeah. Number 5 is that you cannot just use too much force to destroy something. Okay, or you cannot kill any civilian. Okay, Number 6, exit strategy. Is there a way to end this? Okay. So yes, we live in a sinful world. And how are we going to live in this sinful world? We wish that's no battle, no war. But if you just think about it, why you need to have a door? Why you go to sleep, you need to lock your door. Every day when you lock your door, indicate we live in a simple world, right? So that is why we need to have a defense. Oh, we don't want to go to fight. Yes, but if you don't want to go to fight, you don't have a military, any people just going to come in to take whatever you have, right? So idea is, oh, we want to defund police. Okay, great, no more police. Anybody can come into your home. Oh, I like your iPad. I just want to get it. So are we, what type of world we live in? We need to be realistic, okay? And so that's how we learn from the history and to try to avoid this mistake, right? And we all need to be humble. We are not any better than the people in the past because we don't live in the time, right? We live in after, okay? So we need to be learning from the past and be faithful now, all right? So there'll be a good discussion. Should Christians support war?